film begins with a train departing, and from there, we are taken back to the year 1968. At this time, Paul has prepared a surprise for his partner Iris, a magnificent Skyview restaurant. When Iris sees the restaurant, she becomes very happy and excited. A promotional photo is taken at the restaurant featuring Paul, Iris, and a small child hiding in the background. Then, everyone enters the restaurant. The floor of this restaurant is made entirely of glass, allowing a clear view of the world below. In the middle of the restaurant is a live kitchen where chefs are cooking. The atmosphere is lively. People are dancing and enjoying the party. During the celebration, Iris picks a rose and puts it in Paul's jacket pocket. However, Paul accidentally cuts his hand with the thorn from that very rose and starts feeling a little dizzy. Seeing this, the restaurant singer senses something unusual and quietly asks Iris, "Are you pregnant?" Surprised at first, Iris's face soon lights up with happiness. She likes the idea. During the party, Iris notices the singer's son, a small, mischievous child. She doesn't know why, but she feels drawn to him. After a while, Paul takes Iris to the terrace for a romantic moment. There, he proposes to her. Overjoyed, Iris says yes and reveals that she is pregnant. Paul is very happy too. Then the child appears again, throwing a coin off the terrace. Instead of falling to the ground, the coin is sucked into an air conditioning duct. The party continues with people dancing, but gradually the glass floor starts to shift slightly. Meanwhile, the coin travels through the AC pipes, and suddenly a major technical problem occurs. The glass floor breaks. Many people fall through. Paul tries to save himself by grabbing a broken piece of glass, but ends up cutting his hands and feet. Eventually, he falls and dies. Iris somehow survives by holding onto a structural beam. The coin keeps moving through the AC ducts and gets stuck in a gas pipe, causing a fire. The singer dies in the blaze. Iris hides under a piano to protect herself. She then reaches an elevator, but it is already full. As the elevator descends, a man slips and the elevator crashes, killing everyone inside. Iris climbs back up and sees that part of the restaurant is now hanging precariously. Some people are still clinging on. The piano where Iris was hiding is now the only thing keeping the structure balanced. Suddenly, the coin emerges from the duct and falls directly onto the piano. The balance is lost and the rest of the restaurant collapses, killing everyone. In the next scene, we see Iris trying to save the mischievous child. She supports herself by wedging her ring between two chains, but her hand slips, the ring falls, and both Iris and the child fall to their deaths. Then a loud scream is heard. It turns out all of this was happening in a girl named Stephanie's hallucination. Stephanie is in her classroom, and her screaming disturbs everyone. The professor scolds her, and she explains that she often has such terrifying visions. That night, she has another nightmare and wakes up in fear. Her roommate advises her to talk to her family. Stephanie visits her father and younger brother, then goes to her uncle's house, her mother's brother. Everyone there warmly welcomes her. Stephanie spends quality time with her cousins and asks her uncle about Iris, the same Iris who kept appearing repeatedly in her dreams. Actually, she is the grandmother. But as soon as they hear Eris's name, the uncle gets upset. He says Eris is dead to us now. She lost her sanity, left the family, and went to live alone on an island. He blames Eris for Stephanie's mother's mental health deteriorating, which led her to leave the family as well. The uncle refuses to say more. However, the aunt supports Stephanie. Quietly, she gives Stephanie letters sent by Eris, her address, and some personal belongings. Among them is a photo taken in front of the Skyview restaurant, a place that appeared repeatedly in Stephanie's hallucinations. Now Stephanie goes to that island to find out the truth. There she finds a broken-down house surrounded by silence. Stephanie introduces herself, and Iris, becoming very emotional, invites her inside. Iris asks about Stephanie's mother, and Stephanie tells the whole truth, that her mother left her in childhood. Then Stephanie says, "I keep having the same dream every night, the collapse of the Skyview restaurant and the deaths of you and Paul." Iris responds softly, "I had those dreams too." She explains that because of those dreams, she managed to prevent the tragedy from happening in the future. She took a coin from the child's hand and warned people over the microphone. Stephanie is shocked. "You saved everyone." Iris nods but says, "Death doesn't give up so easily." She explains that those who survived that day later died one way or another, and now death is after the survivors' children as well. Paul died from an illness, and Iris realized that her turn was next. So she isolated herself on the island to protect her family. She says, "As long as I'm alive, your brother, your mother, and your uncle will be safe." Stephanie asks, "Then why do I keep having these visions?" Iris replies, "Because now death is hunting us again." Then she gives Stephanie a book containing all the information on how other survivors died and how one can survive death. But Stephanie doesn't believe her. As she leaves, Iris says, "I will come to see you again." For the first time in years, she steps outside the cabin and says, "Now I will face death, Iris gives Stephanie the book and warns, "Now death will come after you. This book is your only protection." Stephanie still doesn't trust her. Iris says, "Then watch how I die." At that moment, a gas leak starts nearby. Things begin to break down one by one. A chain hits Iris and something sharp strikes her from behind. Iris dies. Now Stephanie starts to believe everything is true. 2 days later, Iris's funeral is held. Stephanie's mother comes to and says, "Now the next death will be mine." To save her mother, Stephanie starts reading the book Iris gave her. Inside the book is the same coin that Iris used to stop the disaster. Stephanie realizes how important this coin is. She tries to call her family immediately, but no one answers. Meanwhile, the whole family is busy at a party. Strange things start happening at the party. One glass breaks and a shard falls straight into an ice bucket. Gradually, objects begin moving on their own, as if someone is setting a trap. Then suddenly, Uncle's glass slipped from his hand, and a sharp shard pierced his foot. In pain, he staggered backward. His fall caused the ground to tremble, shaking the nearby lawnmower. In a horrifying moment, the machine hit him, resulting in his death. Everyone at the party was stunned and terrified. Stephanie panicked and told her family that death was targeting them one by one. She explained that after the incident at the Skyview restaurant, those who had survived were now being hunted by death in the generations to come. First it was Eris. Mary died, then her eldest son, and now it was the children's turn. Stephanie even said that if her mother survived, the next victim would be Stephanie herself. But the family didn't believe her, especially her cousins, who were very angry. They said she was mocking their father's death. Only one person trusted her, Stephanie's own mother. But Stephanie didn't get along well with her, and they weren't speaking. Next, it showed Stephanie's cousin, Mary's eldest son, at his piercing shop. After the day ended, he got a tattoo on his hand in memory of his father. At that time, he was wearing a nose ring. As he walked around the shop, a fan connected to a magnetic chain started spinning. The chain was drawn toward his nose ring. Nearby, kerosene had spilled, and in the chaos, a lighter fell, igniting a fire. Although he freed himself from the chain, he fell into the flames. The fire quickly spread throughout the shop. When Stephanie heard about the fire, she ran there. On the way, her cousin suddenly stepped in front of her car and stopped her. Miraculously, despite the sudden braking, she only got minor injuries to her hands. As they talked about the near miss, a fast truck passed by, but nothing happened. Laughing, he said, "See, I told you nothing would happen to me." But Stephanie was still scared. She looked around carefully, searching for danger. Then a reckless truck sped past, and Stephanie warned it to stay away. But the boy came closer and said nothing would happen. Meanwhile, Stephanie's sister was walking and accidentally kicked a ball, causing her to fall into a trash bin. At that moment, sanitation workers arrived and began loading garbage into a truck. The three saw this and ran to stop the truck. Without thinking, Stephanie jumped onto the truck, risking her life. But by the time she got there, the truck's crushing system had already started. The girl had been pulled inside and killed. Only her hand remained in Stephanie's grasp, but she was dead. Her death saddened everyone. Her brother broke down crying, saying, "You were right," but this time Stephanie didn't stop her. He was convinced something was wrong. He said, "The one who should have died didn't, but my sister did." At that moment, their aunt arrived and revealed a shocking truth. That boy was not Stephanie's uncle's biological son. Therefore, death took not him, but his eldest daughter. Stephanie was stunned to hear this. Now others began to believe her as well. The girl's younger brother said, "Now it's my turn, but I don't want to die. Will you help me?" Stephanie replied, "I want to save you, but I don't know what will happen next." He said, "Do you know? Just look around and focus. You'll understand." Stephanie remembered that her grandmother Iris had once told her about a girl who had survived at that time. She was still alive and working in a hospital. Her name was Jeannie. Somehow she had cheated death, so everyone decided to find her. When they arrived and called out to Jeannie, she was startled. Only Iris used to call her by that name. They asked, "How do you know Iris?" Jeannie replied, "I was there on the day the tower collapsed. I was the daughter of that singer." Hearing this, Stephanie remembered everything and recognized Jeannie. Jeannie explained that Iris had come to her years ago to save her husband, Paul, but despite all efforts, he couldn't be saved. Stephanie asked if anyone had survived. Jeannie said yes, 2 people, but not in the way Stephanie was thinking. Death had taken them first, but the doctors revived them. After that, death never came back for them. Stephanie begged for help, but Jeannie said, "I tricked death once, but now I have cancer, and one day we all have to die. That is our final destination. Until then, we should make the most of the time we have." Everyone became sad. Just then, Stephanie's cousin came up with a risky idea. He thought they could trigger his younger brother's allergy by feeding him peanuts, and then revive him with medicine, thus tricking death. But nothing went according to plan. The vending machine stopped working. In a panic, he tried to force it open, and a loose screw fell out. Then they went into another room. He told his younger brother to wait there, while he went to get an anti-allergy injection. On his way out, he accidentally pressed some buttons on the wall that turned on the nearby MRI machine. After a while, he returned with the injection and a wheelchair. He told his brother, "Now eat the peanut chocolate." But at that moment, the MRI machine's powerful magnetic field activated. Stephanie's older cousin, who had piercings all over his body, was pulled toward the machine, and the wheelchair was dragged along. In that terrifying moment, both got trapped inside the machine. The younger brother, who had eaten the chocolate, fell seriously ill but injected himself and improved somewhat. Then the spring that had come loose from the vending machine earlier flew and struck his chest, killing him. Despite all their preparations, death caught him. Everyone's hearts broke. Stephanie told her mother, "Now it's your turn." She said, "Maybe you should go to Iris's house where Grandma lived. She was safe there for many years." Her mother agreed. Stephanie picked up a book and a coin fell from it. An old woman picked up the coin and put it in her purse. Stephanie quickly reached her grandmother's house and told her mother and brother to go inside. They did, unaware that gas had leaked inside the house. A spark from an electrical wire ignited a fire. There was a huge explosion. Stephanie's car parked outside fell into the water. Stephanie tried to swim to safety. Inside the house, her mother was trapped in the fire. Her brother, standing outside, saw a falling tower about to hit Stephanie. Before that could happen, their mother came out, pushed her son to safety, and was crushed by the falling tower. She died. Now the boy understood. It was Stephanie's turn. He jumped into the water and pulled Stephanie out. She wasn't breathing, so he gave her CPR, and miraculously, Stephanie came back to life. They were both very happy. Stephanie had beaten death, but the sorrow of losing their mother and friends was heavy in their hearts. The scene changes. A lot of time has passed. Life has returned to normal. Today is Stephanie's brother Charlie's graduation party. Stephanie is happy. She keeps a rose in her pocket. The thorn pricks her hand, drawing a little blood, just like Iris had seen in her vision. Stephanie realizes the game isn't over yet. Death is coming back. Meanwhile, the same coin that was with Iris is now with that old woman. When she opened her purse, the coin fell onto the train tracks and got stuck in the track switch. At Stephanie's house, a friend of her brother, who is a doctor, comes to visit. He says, "Your brother told me about you. You're very lucky to have survived." Stephanie smiles and says, "Yes, I was lucky." But the doctor replies, "Actually, you weren't alive. If a person doesn't breathe for 5 minutes, they are clinically dead. You had gone beyond that. What you experienced wasn't unconsciousness. That was death." Stephanie and her brother look at each other fearfully. Stephanie looks around and senses something is wrong. Suddenly, the sound of a train is heard. It can't stop. They both run, but it's too late. Debris from the train collision flies through the air and hits them both, killing them. The movie ends with this reminder: we cannot cheat death. It always finds its way, and one day, it will be the final destination for us all.